Ralph Vacchiano predicts a major trade that could completely redefine our offense with the arrival of new players, but it doesn't stop there. Let's understand why we should focus on wide receiver and cornerback in the early rounds of the draft. And there's more. You'll understand why NFL sources say the scenario is set for the Commanders to make a big splash in the first round, with potential advantageous trades with the Chiefs, Bengals, and Dolphins. And, of course, don't forget to leave a like. It's just a click, it's quick, and it's all I ask. The last few weeks have been relatively quiet since the start of the new league season, but things are starting to heat up again with the 2026 NFL Draft officially just 2 weeks away. As a fan who follows every move, I know these next few weeks will be crucial for the team's future. The Washington Commanders and general manager Adam Peters will have a lot of work ahead in the draft after yet another strong move in free agency. The Commanders have a good problem on their hands regarding the draft, but they may also look to fill one of the gaps in their roster through a trade on draft day. In fact, that's exactly what Ralph Vacchiano of Fox Sports predicts is likely to happen. He believes the Commanders should use more of their draft picks to fill the WR2 spot alongside Terry McLaurin. Vacchiano predicts the Commanders will acquire DK Metcalf from the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for their third-round pick in 2026 and a fifth-round pick in 2027. The idea of the Steelers trading Metcalf completely depends on what happens with Aaron Rodgers and whether Pittsburgh will be going for the title in 2026 or entering a rebuilding process, Vacchiano wrote. They just signed Michael Pittman, so they wouldn't be out of options without Metcalf. And Metcalf was a bit of a disappointment last season, with just 59 receptions for 850 yards and 6 touchdowns. As Rodgers struggled to find him on deep passes, Vacchiano continued, the Aaron Rodgers dilemma seems to arise and disappear every offseason. Since he has not publicly disclosed any new information about his future, everything indicates he will return to Pittsburgh despite the coaching staff changes during the offseason. The Steelers understood they needed more skill at wide receiver and made moves to sign a partner for Metcalf in free agency. This shows they are truly committed to improving the offense, including Metcalf in those plans for next season. If Rodgers is out, Metcalf may find himself wishing for a more solid and experienced quarterback to pass him the ball. Meanwhile, the Steelers would be looking for a rebuild by acquiring more draft picks. That's where Jaden Daniels comes in as the perfect solution for Metcalf. Vacchiano continued his analysis. He would have better luck with Jaden Daniels, younger and stronger, throwing the ball to him. And the Commanders are desperate for a receiver to play alongside Terry McLaurin. Metcalf originally cost the Steelers a second-round pick. But after a down year, and with 3 years and over $100 million remaining on his contract, something less than that would be acceptable for Pittsburgh. There's no doubt that the combination of Daniels, Metcalf, and Terry McLaurin would be lethal to any opposing offense. Daniels' unique ability to present a threat both in the air and on the ground would be perfect. Paired with McLaurin's ability to catch passes and run routes, it would perfectly complement what Metcalf can do as one of the top deep threats in the entire league. Vacchiano mentioned that Metcalf would have an underwhelming season in 2025, but his performance wouldn't be that different from the average of previous years. What would be difficult to accept is whether the Commanders' management would be willing to pay Metcalf's contract for the remaining 3 years, or if they would take a risk on a young rookie in the draft, which would cost much less in terms of financial capital. And now, get ready to understand the draft priorities. You will discover why Jordan Reed believes the Commanders should focus on wide receiver and cornerback in the early rounds. It's that time of year when all NFL teams are interested in practically every player they've scouted for the NFL Draft. The Washington Commanders have made various predictions about who will be their first-round pick. After addressing major needs in free agency, they will actually have several options in the 7th round. But it's still not clear exactly what the course of this important pick will be. With the draft just a few weeks away, Jordan Reed from ESPN listed the 2 positions that Washington should select in the early rounds of the draft. The Commanders need to be precise, Reed wrote with conviction. Wide receiver and cornerback are 2 positions the team should reinforce with their top 100 picks, Reed continued. And as John said, Washington wouldn't mind trading up to get 1 or 2 extra picks. According to Reed, the Commanders will prioritize areas that need reinforcement with their first 2 picks in the draft. This means selecting players that fill needs instead of just picking the best available player, countering the expectation of the top player projected for the first round, running back Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame. The Commanders do not have a pick in the 2nd round, so picks 7 and 71 are the areas they would look to strengthen the roster. If you want to delve into the options, players like Mansour Delane, Jermyn McCoy, and Avion Terrell could fit their plans in the first round as cornerbacks. For the wide receiver position, Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, Denzel Boston, and Jordan Tyson are viable options that could be selected. Although names have already been mentioned, it is important to note that many believe this is an excellent point for the Commanders to make a trade on draft day. This could net them more draft capital, allowing them to get more than they initially had. There is plenty of depth in the draft for positions the Commanders are lacking. Names like Jeremy Bernard, Chris Johnson, and D'Angelo Pons are available as additional options. It will be interesting to see which direction Adam Peters and his team decide to take when they enter the war room that Thursday night of the draft. If they manage to gain more capital, even better. They will be able to do whatever they want as long as they meet their immediate needs. Otherwise, it is to be expected that they will address those two positions in the first and third rounds, with high expectations for both selections. And now, to close with a big bet. You will understand why NFL sources say the scenario is set for the Commanders to make a big bet in the first round, with potentially advantageous trades. The Washington Commanders will have to make a tough decision when it's their turn to pick with the 7th overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. This decision includes a move that is expected to occur frequently this year in the draft. With 2 weeks left until the 2026 NFL Draft, there is still a lot of uncertainty about what the team will do. Much depends on how the picks play out before them, but they will have a tough decision to make when they are on the clock with the 7th overall pick in the first round. Undoubtedly, there will be talent available for them to choose from, but they may also make a single move that could change everything. According to an NFL expert, this move is expected to happen frequently this year. The Washington Commanders are a strong candidate for a beneficial trade that could help the team. The Washington Commanders have only 6 picks available in this year's draft, and only 2 of them are among the top 100. According to NFL reporter Jordan Schultz, teams are looking to make several trades in the first round. Teams want to recover more second and third round picks due to the lack of options on the third day of the draft. Trading their picks for lower positions may be a possibility for a team like the Commanders. Schultz mentions some important points and states that teams expect a series of trades in the first half of the first round. When the Commanders pick will be a critical moment for potential trades. He also notes that defensive positions of edge, CB, and LB will be the most sought after for trades, and even WR might be negotiated. This is interesting because the Commanders could have Reuben Bain Jr., Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Mansour Delane, and Carnell Tate available. When it's their turn to pick, some team may want their pick to move up in the draft. The Washington Commanders need to decide whether to stay in their draft position and pick again or trade their position for more picks. Still, they would try to secure one of the best players available. The top teams to watch regarding possible trades for lower draft positions are the Kansas City Chiefs, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Miami Dolphins. Some teams may be so interested in Reuben Bain Jr. that they want to move up in the draft to select him. The Commanders need more picks among the top 100. There's a good chance they could trade positions with the Bengals or Chiefs and still secure Caleb Downs or another quality player. This is the best possible scenario for the Commanders, but may not be as easy as it seems. They will have to maintain their position in the draft and be prepared. In any case, the Commanders will have a tough decision to make and many talents available to choose from. As a fan, I'm hopeful that Adam Peters will make the right choice, regardless of how the scenario unfolds. The strategy of trading down also offers flexibility for the Commanders in terms of building a more balanced roster. If they can gain more picks, they could address multiple needs instead of just 1 or 2. This is a smart approach that well-managed teams utilize. The depth of the 2026 draft in defensive positions is particularly strong, meaning the Commanders could trade back and still get a quality player. This would be especially true if they could recover a second-round pick in the process. That flexibility is valuable. Adam Peters has shown to be a creative general manager who isn't afraid to make bold moves in the draft. A trade back would be consistent with his history of strategic decisions. He could use this opportunity to strengthen the roster in multiple areas simultaneously. The Commanders' defense needs reinforcements at several positions, not just one. Having more draft picks would allow Peters to address these needs more effectively. This could result in a more balanced and versatile roster for the upcoming season. As a fan of the Commanders, I'm confident that Peters will make the right choice, no matter what scenario unfolds in the draft. His strategic approach to the draft has been impressive so far. I hope he continues with this philosophy in 2026 and beyond. Hey, fan, after finding out that Ralph Vacchiano predicts a big trade to bring DK Metcalf from the Steelers, understanding that Jordan Reed believes we should focus on wide receiver and cornerback in the early rounds, and knowing that NFL sources say the scenario is set for advantageous trades with the Chiefs, Bengals, and Dolphins, which of these strategies makes you feel more hopeful? Do you believe we should really make a trade to bring Metcalf? Or would it be smarter to invest in a young receiver in the draft that would cost a lot less? And more importantly, do you trust that Adam Peters will make the right choice in the draft, whether by keeping the 7th pick to select an elite player or trading down to gain more draft capital? Leave your opinion in the comments. I want to know what you think about the future of the Washington Commanders.